Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, a DC Comics podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and I'm joined, as always, with Matt.
Hey, up and away.
Unfortunately, Connor is not here. Now, this is really suspicious, because Connor was on schedule this week to do his Connor's Corner, which one of our patrons pays for him to read a book of their choosing. The book, of course, that he's currently being forced, I love using that word, he's forced to read, is Red Hood and the Outlaws. Unfortunately, though, he just conveniently remembered halfway through the week, oh, my anniversary's this week when we're meant to record, and he's not here, so not to worry, he will be doing that on another week this month, he will be back, but he is absent this week, the little scoundrel.
Yeah. Number one, who misses the show for an anniversary?
Yeah, I know, right?
And two, yeah, had we not said that this was a Red Hood week, I'm sure it wouldn't have been as difficult to move.
He'd have made time for it. Is it?
Yeah.
He thought it was Sunday for some reason all week until he suddenly remembered, and it's all very suspicious. Is absent under mysterious circumstances, might I say. The little terror, but here we are. So we're going to talk about this week's DC books, which is actually quite a short list this week. Week ones are typically a bit quieter, but we have 6 books to talk about. We got Batman number 26, Superman number 26, Nightwing number 24, Green Arrow number 26, Green Lanterns number 26, and Deathstroke number 21, which I did catch up on, and I will be discussing Deathstroke this week. So hey, I did something useful with the extra time to read.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's fun. I also do plan on catching up on Aquaman. I am a fair bit further on that as well. I should be caught up for the issue this month, which I think is on week 3. So I should be talking. I mean, I'll be the only one talking about Aquaman, but there will be some Aquaman talk from me at least come week 3. So hey, that's good. It's good things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have a little bit of news before we get to that though. Ma, how was your week this week? Anything fun happen? Anything exciting, notable that you'd like to share?
No, not particularly. Just been really hot. That's not as fun. So,
No, it's not.
You know,
Summer's a bitch. Here, I'll tell you what I hate about summer. That other than the heat, which to be fair isn't too bad here all that much all the time. But here's what I do hate. I hate the fact that now when I go to the theater, the movies during the day, because I like when it's quiet. I like when there's almost no one there. I hate that right now it is crawling with children.
yeah.
You go see Spider-Man, you're like, oh, what a nice quiet showing. So you go in the middle of the day, but no, they're everywhere. They're noisy. They look sticky. Which is the worst part about kids. They always seem to have sticky fingers like that. Oh,
You sound like Dr. Grant in the beginning of Jurassic Park, where he goes, and they smell.
they smell.
Kids smell.
They do smell. They're awful. They're awful creatures. Don't want no part of it. So yeah, that's upsetting me. This was actually, I mean, Spider-Man was pretty good, but a review of that will be up on the YouTube channel by the end of the weekend. I mean, obviously we put Wonder Woman on the audio feed for Comics from the Multiverse. I don't know if people would want us to put the Spider-Man review on the audio feed, because it's not DC, but they might still be interested in what we thought of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So let us know.
Yeah, I mean, it is a comic book movie, and chances are, even if you are a DC fan, you're gonna go see Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Probably. I mean,
So
I might do it. I mean, don't know. Let me know in the comments if you're on the Patreon. Let us know on the Patreon or tweet at us. At @mailed_fuzz. If you would like the Spider-Man review to be a sort of bonus audio episode for the comics podcast feed, let us know. If you're watching this on YouTube, you don't care because you're going to watch it on YouTube anyway, so that's fine.
right.
But yeah, so obviously that was a thing this week. Honestly, this was a depressing week because this was the one week in the middle of the season that Twin Peaks took a week off, and my Sunday felt like there was just a void because there was no Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
It was heartbreaking. I know you don't care about that because it's David Lynch, but
yeah, it's a lot of my shows were off too that I normally watch, but that's mostly just disposable clip Tosh.0 style stuff. So nothing that impacts my week too much.
Nah,
that said, I did watch Jaws for the millionth time, I think, on the 4th of July. Which doesn't mean anything to people outside the U.S., but it's a holiday what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so tired. It's so hard.
Holiday favorite? Holiday
No
tradition?
favorite. Yeah, it's just a tradition, you know. So watch that while eating burgers and hot dogs. Uh, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's fair. No, it's just Twin Peaks is kind of the highlight because there's not a lot of TV on right now, right?
No.
So Twin Peaks is the one great show every week that I'm looking forward to. I'm excited about each week. So not having it on this past weekend was really depressing. It made the weekend feel really. I tell you what I have been doing this week though. Crash Bandicoot trilogy
Ooh.
got released on the PS4. That was
You mean
actually
you mean PlayStation's Mario? Crash Bandicoot?
Mario Wishes.
Oh, that's hefty words there.
Mario Wishes. I'm not a Nintendo guy. I never really had Nintendo growing up. I had Sega, then I had PlayStation, and went from there. But no, so I've been playing a lot of the remastered Insane trilogy. In fact, I just beat Crash Bandicoot 2 earlier, just before we
Oh,
started. Not
it's a
long
fun one.
before we started recording.
I always liked the tikis being there.
Hmm.
Like I always thought that was a fun little thing. Uh, Also, the villain designs are always real cool. Back when I played the Vigi games.
Yeah, no,
So
it's good fun. One's hard as shit. I'm about halfway through one. I'm about halfway
yeah,
through three, and I've beaten two. Although I've not got all the gems yet, but it's a good time. It was cheap as well. It's a $40 game as well. You know, when most are 60. Got all three games out of it. It was a
nice.
good fun time. I've been dabbling in that. So yeah, I guess we'll get on to some DC comic stuff now. Then we'll get the small talk out of the way. But like I say, 6 books. So there's a little bit more of the small talk at the start of the show, just to sort of. I don't want to use the word pad, but we're padding things out a little bit. Make you feel
So
like you get a
a
full
teensy
meal.
bit.
Yeah.
Well, we're minus a Connor's Corner,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's a smaller week. Week one tends to usually be my favorite week, just because I have time to read everything. I don't have to rush.
Hmm.
But yeah. But we got some big news.
We
Some real
did
big news.
we had obviously we've heard about Sean Murphy's Batman book that's been coming up. He's been talking about it, how it's going to be like a mini. It's going to be his big final thing on Batman, and he's writing it and drawing it. And obviously we were curious about that. We found out this week that it's called Batman White Knight. It is an Elseworld, although they're not actually using that word because it seems like they're just not using that word anymore. Even though, I mean, we're still going to call it that because we're DC fans and that's what their word's always been. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But yeah, so it's called Batman White Knight, and it has a slightly different concept than I think we were expecting. It's basically flipping the roles, and what if Batman was the villain and the Joker was the hero, and that's what it's going to be. I've got a quote here. Hold on, let me. Yeah, so yeah, the line Batman rides between noble vigilante and overzealous oppressor will always be shifting as our own society changes. We know the Joker is a genius, we know that he's relentless, and we know that he can play the crowd. So why not make him a politician? Frank Miller modelled him after David Bowie. Chris Nolan showed him as a controlled sociopath. I see the Joker as Don Draper. So
That is terrifying. Again, not having ever watched Mad Men, but 3 episodes, I do know a lot about Don Draper and how manipulative that dude is. And you're gonna put that with the Joker and make him the good guy? That's kind of scary.
yeah, so this is hitting on October 4th. So it's a week one book. That's nice. That's a good week
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, right before my birthday too. A nice little present to
I was
myself.
trying it. As far as this concept goes, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I'm kind of in this weird place where I'm like, okay. I feel like I'm not like upset about it, but I'm like, you're going to have to prove this to me because right now I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess, sure, give it a
So,
try.
so the part of me that doesn't enjoy Batman that much is like, oh yeah, look, they're making Batman the bad guy. Finally, people see him like I see him. But then the rational part of my brain, which let's say it's a little bit smaller, goes, yeah, but I hate when they make Superman the bad guy just to make him the bad guy. So it's at this weird spot. Like I can definitely see where Murphy's coming from, where Batman can represent a corruption of law and order. Like when he was created, you could just punch crime in the face, right? That was the 40s. Now it's a little bit more different. It's like what exactly constitutes crime in the society we're living, where people they villainize the. 1 minute. So what happens when you link your iPad with your phone and you think everything's shut off?
Poor show. That's all I'm saying. Poor show.
Yeah, poor show on my part. But where was I going with that? Where he's, oh yeah, maybe that's not the way. We live in a society that likes to villainize the media because it doesn't cover them the way they feel like it should. You know, so how exactly would Batman's message fit nowadays? Towards like, oh, he's hurting people more than he's helping people, and you know, and I'd like to see what Joker, who's been hurt by him so many times before, you know, his first-hand knowledge of that.
Yeah, I mean, comparing it to that Nightwing mini that's coming out by Higgins, which I'm not particularly looking forward to.
Yeah.
This, I mean, I'm not. See, this has the benefit of having absolutely gorgeous art. There's some preview pages and there's a front cover, and it looks absolutely stunning. So they are, at least it gets me interested. But because it is coming from the one creator and because of the way he's talking about it, it does feel like it is coming from this creative place where he's got this idea that he wants to do. Now, I'm not necessarily convinced that I'm going to like the idea, but I'm a lot more intrigued by whatever his story is going to be.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I feel like even though because I feel like they're boiling it down to this really simple thing right now, where they're saying, "Oh, Batman's the villain and Joker's the hero." It wouldn't surprise me that if by the end of this story, that won't still be true, or like it'll go places with it. Whereas I feel like right now it's a really obvious, headline for the articles to say, "Oh, this Batman story coming up. Batman's the villain and Joker's the hero and Joker's this politician." And obviously the front cover for the first issue has a sort of normal looking Harley Quinn as well, sort of on his shoulder. So we have this. But no, I mean the art looks gorgeous. I'm definitely wanting to give it a shot. I'm not completely sold on the concept, but I'm definitely willing to give it a try.
Yeah, as am I.
So that's kind of where I fall on it. As with anything with these Elseworlds, like so often they kind of have to prove what is the point of this story, because even though it's doing something different, it has to be examining something to do with the character and how does this change it. Kind of like, like Superman Red Son. It's like, oh, so what happens if he grows up with other parents in another part of the world, and how does that affect the man he becomes, and so on. So, no, I'm curious. But that's Batman White Knight. That is launching in October 4th specifically, and it'll be monthly, I do believe. And it's 8 issues long, so
it's good.
There's a thing.
And it's almost running concurrent with Metal too, so we'll be getting a lot of Batman in the fall. It seems like.
I bet you're excited about that, Matt.
Yeah, I'm excited for Metal, so I'm excited for this because, like you said, Murphy art's always good. Like
yeah.
So and some of the images that they released with this are just the detail he can put into things. That like my Twitter background is still a commission he did of Back to the Future. And just everything looks so right. So I like to see him play around in Gotham a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Batman, let's get on to some books for this week. So we'll start off, of course, with Batman number 26. Tom King writing, Mikel Janin on art. Why have I got David Finch's name written in there as well? That's weird.
You don't want to confuse those two at all.
That is a whole, because little peek behind the curtain here. Whenever I'm doing these documents for these, I always copy the week from the previous month, and apparently I just forgot to delete the previous name.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't even make sense. I don't think Finch was on this show last month.
No.
Whatever. Batman 26. Second part of War, Jokes and Riddles. Obviously, Jan's art is once again absolutely fantastic. I think that's right off the bat, no pun intended. That's what I want to point out. But this was basically kind of the escalation of the war, the start of the recruitment, at least from Riddler's side, and kind of the declaration. And the way this issue kind of focused on this was Batman's narrating this, and again, it's all past tense. He's telling Selina, because again, we get to the last page and he's with her in present day. He's basically the technique here is that as it's going through, all these people are dying, whether it's henchmen of Carmine Falcone, whether it's innocent civilians. Basically, it's like Batman's naming all of them. He's like, no, this is this person, this was this person, this person was doing it for this reason, this person had this family. He's like, and as we're going through, it's almost just like here's everyone who died. It's a body count is essentially what it is as this is starting.
Well, they're all casualties of this war.
Yeah. And what I liked about this issue is it really feels like it's setting up like kind of like how big a deal this this war is, like how horrific it is.
Well, and it looks like too, like for 0 Year, and I hate that that's what it's called, was kind of an origin for Batman. This seems like this is the origin of where we are now with the different supervillains, because it seems like Joker was well known and Riddler had a 0 Year thing, but like here we have Carmine Falcone. He's kind of deposed here as the crime king of Gotham, and he's not running concurrent like we've seen in stories of the past. And it looks like Cobblepot was put in that spot by Joker.
Yeah, Penguin's actually working for Falcone until Joker comes in and says, "You work for me now." Interesting to see if we get a glimpse of how Penguin breaks away from him to do his own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, Joker goes to Carmine and says like, "Hey, Riddler needs to be dead in an hour, or or else." And that's all he says, and hangs up the phone. And Carmine's like, "Yeah, what are you waiting for? Go and kill him." And when they fail, partly because Poison Ivy's there, and she sort of gets in the mix of what's going on.
Yep.
And when he fails, Joker like shows up. Oh, here's your mother's teeth, and he's got them lined up on the table in a smile. And my favourite part of the scene, of course, is when Cobblepot points out, but wait a minute, his mother was in Metropolis. That's 3 hours away, and you gave him an hour to do this.
Yep.
There's that glorious dark little thing where the Joker either expected him to fail or just didn't care and did it anyway. Right. It's just that brutality. Speaking of Joker, I'm looking at the page right now where he's trying to smile in the mirror.
Yeah.
And he just can't. He keeps trying, and he's just pissed that he's not smiling. It's glorious stuff.
Janin is killing it. So we all know that I love Poison Ivy. His Poison Ivy here is, and other artists draw her really sexed up. Like, they use it as an excuse to put her in like next to nothing. Here she is fully clothed and still has that Poison Ivy vibe to her. That's so like you still buy her as the plant lady here.
Yeah. I want to bring up actually, since we're on that scene, there was some controversy this week. Some people were upset at this book because Poison Ivy kills people. Which
it's a flashback story.
This is the thing. Like, if you're going to argue with me, okay, Poison Ivy now has developed more into something of an anti-hero and maybe wouldn't do that. Okay, that's fine. But this is meant to be like after a year of Batman's existence, she should have been a villain at some point.
Exactly.
I really don't. I don't like.
We know she's an eco-terrorist.
Yeah. I don't like the idea that she was always that way. Like she had to be a villain at some point. And to me, Poison Ivy did kill people at some.
Yeah, she's not a mutant. She has a tragic backstory as well. Like, she wasn't born with these powers and developed them over time. It's like she got them in a freak accident and was driven mad with power. So it makes sense that she would have a body count, and then even through meeting Harley or regaining touch with humanity, she's become more of an anti-hero. And here, even though these people are trying to kill her because they warn her, get out of the way, and she doesn't, they gave her plenty of chances to move. So so they're coming after her as well. So you could even say it's self-defense if you want to, but yeah, like, I think that's just dumb reasoning if you're mad about that.
Yeah, it really did not bother me at all. I never even thought about it until I saw people complaining about it online. I'm like, what, really? This is a problem? But no, so she's been recruited by Riddler. And there's some great stuff as well. I do like Batman's outfit in this. It's just kind of...
Yeah.
I guess it's his new 52 outfit, but it looks great because it's Janin.
Yeah, but it's classic. Like, it's as cool as the purple looks that he's gotten since.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the Batman I always think of. Like, the dark colors because he hides in shadows.
Yeah, the grey and the black. That's his thing. I do like the opening scene with Joker. Going into this random family's house, and you just see the gunshots, and Batman's like narrating, saying, that there's a wife and kids in there. Yeah. Again, it's setting this idea up that something's brewing, that these dark forces, and when it does get to that final sort of moment where he finds Carmine Falcone's mother in another, in Metropolis, and he's looking at the dead body. That's when the narration shifts, and he's like, "Oh, this is like before. This was just the start of it." And people are like, "Oh, yeah, this is just the normal sort of bodies that pop up in Gotham once in a while." But
Yeah.
he's like, "No, these were happening too quick. This was the start of something big." And then that's when you get those gorgeous double-page spreads of Riddler and his recruits, which appear to be Scarecrow, Croc, Clayface, Two-Face, Zaz, Deathstroke, and Firefly.
Yep.
And then you get the double page spread, of course, of Joker and his recruits. So it's got Grundy, Freeze, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, Scarface, Mad Hatter, Deadshot, Man-Bat, and... Oh, one that I don't know. Who's that dude?
Looks like Sportsmaster.
Okay.
Like, one of those type that's kind of expendable.
So, some D-lister who's probably going to be dead by the end of the story.
Yeah.
He's
and I will say this, too. I tend to like the characters that ended up siding with Riddler tend to be more of my favorite Batman guys because they seem to be the more conflicted of them. I mean, outside of Scarecrow and Zaz, of course.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how Joker got Freeze and Deadshot, because the rest of them are all kind of crazy. So I buy that he recruits them, whereas Freeze
if this is Snyder's Freeze, it makes sense.
Oh, that's true.
Nora was never really his wife, so he had an unhealthy fascination. But yeah, Deadshot's just kind of blue collar. I kill people for money for my daughter.
That's true. Yeah, maybe he's just getting paid well. That's a fair.
Yeah, but so he's the one that sticks out like a sore thumb there. It makes sense that Joker would reach out to Grundy. Like, I want to see that scene. I want to see how he recruited Grundy.
What would Grundy even want?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. So it's those double page spreads are glorious. Like, and they each have the question marks with the names underneath, and then you get to the next one, and they're all Joker cards with the names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Janin kills it. Janin's ever since the first time I saw his work was in, I think, Justice League Dark, and I was like, oh man, this dude's next level. And now you put him on this book, and all the eyes are on it. It's well fitting.
Yeah, and when you get to the last page, and because that's kind of what we get, because Batman's kind of like narrating, and he's talking about how, because obviously in the last issue he said to her something along the lines of, before we move forward with this, you have to know what I did in the War, Jokes and Riddles. So it's hinting that he had to do something that maybe he's not proud of to solve this. And it's like, as he's narrating here and he's talking about this war, he's saying, "Oh, I was Batman for a year and people were calling me the Dark Knight, the Crusader, world's greatest detective. I was a member of the Justice League. I was brave. I was bold. I was a superhero." And he ends the book saying, "I was a superhero." But as he says that, and he's with Selina, the background is just this wall of faces, presumably dead people, the victims that died during the war. And I think it's really building up to whatever bad choice he makes that might make us look at him a little bit differently. That might make us go, "Oh, right, he maybe did something that was a little bit darker that he shouldn't have done." And I don't think he killed someone, because that would be a kind of a betrayal of the character.
But desperate times call for desperate measures, and if he made alliances with certain people, like we don't see Penguin on here, on the Joker's team.
That's true.
So I'm wondering if he made an alliance with the established criminal element, because the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Or if we get to see Matches Malone, and Matches Malone plays some kind of role in this.
This doesn't feel like the sort of story that they're going to break out Matches Malone. I could be wrong, but it doesn't feel... I feel like Matches Malone typically pops up in a more light-hearted tale.
Yeah, but imagine him making deals as Matches Malone, and that's what's the problem.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, he really can't approach it as Bruce Wayne, and Batman's already in the fray. But I did love his whole narration about what he was, and the way that he says that. He was those things. Yeah,
it's like whatever he did during this war made him look at himself differently. Even if everyone else still sees Batman and still sees the superhero,
right.
This is where he maybe lost his innocence, where he sees himself as someone who, okay, he's still doing this, but part of it's also for atonement. Part of it's also because he doesn't deserve to live a normal life because of whatever he did to win this fight, to stop this war. But I think what this issue does really well is it really sets up this idea that so many people are dropping dead because of it, that the stakes are so high, that all these bodies, and the idea that even now, at the end of this issue, when he's telling Selena, like, this story, like, he is plagued with the faces of everyone who died in that war. Either because he feels responsible that so many people died, or because these are the reasons why he made the choice he did. But it's setting the stakes up really well, and I feel like, oh no, this feels big. Whatever this is, whatever's going to go down, they're really they're setting it up so that whenever it happens, it's justified by the chaos and the death and the loss that's preceded it. So, no, I thought it was an all solid issue. I think it's really funny that, you know, back when Rebirth started, we were all, oh, Detective Comics is easily the better of the two Batman books, and you know, Batman was fine, but it wasn't knocking it out the park.
Well, King has found his footing, definitely. Like, I had to get through the I Am Bane, or I Am Suicide to get through I Am Bane, but he's found his footing, and I feel like he gets Batman.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not saying it's necessarily always better than Detectives now, but I feel like it's more of a fight. Like, it depends on what's, like, I feel like right now War, Jokes and Riddles is better than the arc that we've got in Detective right now.
Yeah. Well, it almost feels like it's on purpose. Like, they're trading. Like, well, you get to tell the kick-ass story this time, now I'll get to. And I feel like Superman's doing the same thing with Superman in action. Although Superman seems to be more on the good side of that one, or the more interesting. So, I like that they do that, though. Because it's, as someone that reads almost everything, you know, you notice these things more than someone that's just reading one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, I'm excited to see more of War, Jokes and Riddles. It's actually really funny, because when they announced this, we went, flashback story. And I think that was just because of Zero Year. But, like, when we actually started seeing some artwork from it, when we started seeing what it was about, and then we actually read the issues, I've been really, really into it.
Yeah, I wasn't here to talk about the first issue, but that could go down by the end of 2017 as my favorite single issue.
No, let's not spoil the end of the year awards, Matt, that we're going to
Yeah, I'm just saying, we're halfway through the year right now, and it was really strong. It felt like a Michael Mann movie told in a comic book. Had that, just the tone and the style. This, though, it shifted that to a little bit, which is fine, because you want them to, each issue to feel a little bit different.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what I like, though? I like that, you know, obviously, having someone tell the story in hindsight, as if they're recounting it. Obviously, that's a common device that's used in a lot of stories and even in comic books. But what I like about it here is that because comics are so serialized, that it's not just like I've thought of a story and we're going to have this device to tell the story. Like, you know, a lot of movies do that, where it's like, a character's going to be telling the story to other characters. Whereas here, it's happening because of the story that's happening in present day that we've already been having and we've already set up. Right. And he's being prompted to tell her this because it's a big part of who he is right now.
Well, it's like him coming clean to her before, you know, they shack up. If they shack up. Because we still really don't know, you know. She could just steal his heart and run away. And she runs, he chases. Like, that's their gimmick. So, but no, I like that. I do have a problem because I forget that he's telling. Because it's just the narrator boxes. And then you get to the end and you're reminded, oh yeah, this is kind of pillow talk. I think that's, but I feel that that's the goal, is they throw you in the past and then remind you at the end of each issue.
I think throughout the whole thing though, you never lose the idea that he is, like, he's telling this story because it means something to him. It's like it feels personal the entire time. As much as the story itself is spanning between two sets of villains and whatnot. It's also worth mentioning that there's a homage to Batman 1989 with the Riddler getting fixed up by a doctor.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the scene with the Joker in Batman 89 when he's asking for the mirror.
Where do they get a load of me?
Aye, well, that comes a little bit later, but aye.
Yeah, but that's what sets it up.
Yeah. And then Riddler kills the doctor. So,
he also draws a question mark with a razor blade onto his chest.
Yeah, because he's got like the wound from where he was shot, and he draws a question mark so that bullet holes the point on
punctuation.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm liking this Riddler, even though traditionally I liked Riddler as he's the brains. He doesn't, he doesn't necessarily get violent, but this, like his dealing with the Joker, is really what made him up to the fact that he's a Batman villain because he's dangerous, not just because he's crazy.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. The police characters in this, they're talking. Oh, no, it's not police characters. I think it's the news characters, because we hear like news broadcasts as we're looking at Joker, I think.
Yeah.
But Riddler usually leaves a cryptic clue, and it has to be solved. But in this occasion, when he left a message, it just said, "I'm going to kill Joker."
Yeah.
Like he just flat out said it, and you get the idea that the Joker shooting him has ignited something that's taken away his usual playful spirit. Where he's like, no, usually he wants to play the game and he wants to do his riddles and all that. But this is kind of made him unhinged. This has done something else to him.
Yeah.
He's angry. That's it. I'm still expecting riddles to play a part in some way, but we'll see how that involves. But there you go. That's Batman. All right, that'll take us on to Superman number 26. Don't have the usual team on this one actually. It's Mikel, Moreci, and Scott Godlewski on the book this week, because obviously twice a month. And this is a sort of one-shot fill-in before giving the regular team, Tomasi and Gleason, a little chance to catch up in whatever they're doing.
Yep.
And this is a story about Clark having some trouble teaching John a couple of things about being a hero, and it kind of has a couple of cool flashbacks to him being taught some lessons by Jonathan when he was a kid. And it's mostly about parenting, about how you have to let your kid make their own mistakes and kind of learn for their own rather than just telling them what's wrong.
Except when your kid's learning from that jerk friend of theirs you don't really like. Because John was very much Damien here. I
mean, I like this issue. I enjoyed most of it, and I enjoyed most of the art. But both the writing and the art had one or two things that were just like sort of nitpicks where I'm like, like in the art, I thought like John sometimes looked like he was A, too old, and B, he had like this almost like his hair was just a little bit too long, and he had this sort of emo teenager thing going for him. And I'm like, wait a minute, when did that happen? He was like 10 in the last issue I read him in. It was kind of weird and just didn't jive with my current perception of him. It's again as well, the way he was kind of like arguing with Superman was kind of weird because it did feel a bit more Damien-esque. But even again, though, to be fair, when he comes in the room and like John's like doing push-ups, he's like, "Well, Damien always says you have to start the day early." It's like, okay, all right, so maybe they're hinting that Damien's had an influence on him.
He does, but that's not the influence you want.
No, probably not. No.
So that was my main problem with this issue. I did like, Clark having issues with parenting because he's Superman. He's supposed to do everything perfect, but this is the first time he's doing that. So, I get there's a little bit of growing pains. It also feels like something with Pa Kent's coming. I feel like we're getting a lot of the Kents lately. And
maybe.
It just feels like they're seeding things throughout because we had the destruction of the statues in Action Comics at the fortress, and now we have him reminiscing about his dad. So it's a bit not strange, but something I'm picking up on.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did. I don't actually see that as this is like a tease for that though. It feels just more like a. Because we all know about Superman's relationship with his parents, and I feel like it was an easy way here of like kind of relating that to what he's going through with John, and I like the over idea of this issue. It was a kind of a sweet little story as a result. I do think when I do think when John.
You see?
Yeah, I know. But I do think when John actually does kind of learn, because they're fighting some monster dude, and he gets whacked, and he's like, "Oh no, I was wrong. I should have listened to you, Dad." I thought, that felt a bit easy. Like it doesn't really feel like one hit maybe doesn't feel like enough to go, "Oh, Dad, I was wrong all along. You were right. I should have listened to you."
Yeah, but it was also it reminded him of Manchester Black because it was a psychic kind of attack. So that, again, a little bit too easy too, because that's just what we came from,
Yeah.
I felt like maybe he just should have been backhanded and had the sense knocked into him there, and he's a little bit dazed, and that's when Clark's like, "See, you can't go rushing in, kid. Let him learn a little bit the hard way." But I
Yeah.
also love how Superman, the two guys that he's dealing with, the aliens that are sending the drones.
Hmm.
Superman's like, these guys again. They're kind of just like D level, and that's why he let John kind of rush in. That weren't an actual threat.
Yeah, I mean, as far as villains go, this was like a fine little winner. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not complaining. And honestly, obviously Black Dawn had a couple of shaky issues that ultimately kind of soured the
yeah.
arc to a fair extent. Uh,
Hmm.
I will say that I did like the art in this for the most part. Like I say, John's face was often a bit of contention, but otherwise it was the action looked good.
Hmm.
Good colours, all that kind of stuff. Uh, but no, it's kind of a simple issue. Uh,
Yeah.
I did like the scenes with Jonathan. The flashbacks were pretty cool.
Hmm. I like anytime they use Pa Kent. I love that relationship, and that's what I always liked in the movie in the 1978 movie. When he dies, it's something that Clark can't prevent because it was a heart attack.
Hmm.
And it really just rang true on their relationship because it's really when you're talking about a guy that can fly and has super strength, a vulnerability of his parents' death is what gets to him and shakes his worldview. So I like that he's reminiscing here about his dad and his dad teaching him lessons. And sure, you shouldn't use your superpowers for everything, but sometimes it's okay.
Yeah.
You got to
Well,
do things your way because we're different no
yeah.
matter what.
That's ultimately what he learns in that whole scenario is that he's trying to teach him to do things the way he does them, and he's like, no, but you're different. You have to kind of learn to do it your own way,
Yep.
and that kind of thing. So, look, the ultimate message of this show was pretty good. It just, it was kind of like a solid 7, I guess, if you're kind of rating it,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. It's a delicate hand to write the sons of Superman and Batman because we've seen this with Damian too. If it's not the right person writing him, he comes off really bad.
Yeah, like a
Uh,
Lazarus contract, where it felt like
yeah,
he was forced out of what he should be just to fit the story a little bit.
exactly. And that's how I feel here. I feel like you can have John being a little bit rebellious, but you don't need to write him as Damian. You know, as just this little shit that
Yeah,
does
yeah.
things his own way.
Like, he could have made all these same mistakes without having the same attitude problem.
Yeah, like he could have just spent the whole life just trying to help. That's always what gets me with John is anytime he messes up, he's just trying to help. It's like when he went when they first found that mansion in the swamp. He was helping Kathy look for the cow, and that's how he gets into trouble. So, but definitely, I mean, it's a delicate hand, and we know Tomasi's great at writing both, so it stands out a little bit more when he's not.
Yeah. But there you go, that's Superman. It's a simple little winner. That'll take us on to Nightwing, number 24. Tim Seeley writing, Miguel Mendonca on art. This is the third part of the blockbuster arc.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like we're going to be quick on this one as well, because this issue ended up being one long action scene for the most part.
Yeah.
There was one scene with what's her face? Defacer, Sean.
Sean.
Took me a second. When Pigeon shows up and she's talking to is Mouse her name? Is that the right?
Mouse.
Mouse, yeah.
Because it's Giz and Mouse.
Yeah,
are the two.
Giz is kind of the Nightwing's guy in the computer for this issue.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a computer guy as you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he says that something is 2,000 gigs, shouldn't he just say 2 terabytes?
Yeah, that annoyed the shit out of me. I'm glad you brought that up. No one would say 2,000 gigabytes. That is so weird. That is 2 terabytes. What is wrong with you?
That's, I saw that, and I had to look it up just to make sure, But yeah, who says...
It just read so wrong. So I'm like, wait, 2,000 gigabytes? Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Because you never hear anyone talk about thousands of gigabytes because you don't need to.
No.
There's another
you
increment.
just talk about a terabyte.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was like,
weird.
you're the computer guy. Giz is your name. So I feel he's a bit of a pretender here.
Maybe. I feel like maybe Seeley just... I don't know. Maybe he doesn't...
Lapse of judgment.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't know computer talk and he's just not thought about it, or maybe he is trying to make a point with it. I'm not really sure. I mean,
2,000 gigabytes seems like a lot more than 2 terabytes to the average person.
I guess.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, it's nothing to focus on that much. I was just like,
I know, yeah, it's a nitpick, but it stood out to me when he said it. It was weird.
Me too.
But yeah, so Pigeon shows up, and it's just the idea that Pigeon's out on parole, and she's like coming to talk to Sean, and we don't really see any more of it. It's just kind of that's kind of it. But the rest of the issue is one giant. There's a lot of double page spreads. There's a lot of Nightwing fighting all these villains that are here. Because if you remember, they're at this kind of show and tell. This arms dealer who's got these weapons. Tiger Shark, of course, is the one doing this. Blockbuster's brought in Nightwing so they can use their fancy weapons to kill Nightwing to show all these villains, hey, look,
they work.
They work for killing superheroes, even though Nightwing's not got any powers, so your point's kind of moot in this sense, but whatever, they don't know that. So Miguel, obviously Skyhook was there, Vertigo's there. What I thought was fun actually with this issue is they used this to actually have a lot of cool little cameos from other books. Because Kid Amazo's there from Super Sons, which I thought was really cool.
China White and the Triad.
China White. The Underground Men from Green Arrow, along with Clock King, who popped up in Green Arrow not long ago. So there was a lot of fun little things like that where it was like, yeah, it's all. I mean, there's no A-listers; they're all like C-listers. But still, it was a nice little fun idea that all these different characters that have been popping up in other books all kind of showed up for this. So that was kind of cool.
And I love how the '90s themselves showed up with Magog, just because, like, and Dick even gets some little shots in on there. Like his cybernetic arm and his cybernetic eye and this lance that he carries. Like, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, art's pretty good. I like specifically there's a page towards the end where Dick's like sort of like he's down for the count for a second, then he gets back up. And there's just this great little sequence of his eyes opening and getting back up. So that was quite good.
Blockbuster is starting to annoy me a little bit because this back and forth of, hey, I'm a good guy. Actually, no, I'm not. But hey, yes, I am. I fight for, I'm doing this for Bloodhaven. Because I'm one of the people that grew up here. And it's just like, well, it would mean more if he doesn't flip every single issue. Well, this is issue 3 we've had of him, and it's his second turn.
I don't count this one as a turn, though. I think it's like I disagree. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm super down with his character necessarily, but this one didn't feel like a turn to me. To me, he's still a villain. He's kind of like the villain who's like, oh, I'm going to save it, but only me's going to save it, so I'm going to kill you to do it. He's still a villain here. I just think...
I know that, but I'm saying his whole tone of dealing with Nightwing, like, if he's meant to be Nightwing's new, adversary of Bloodhaven, it feels his tone's off, because I feel like he's still too buddy-buddy with Nightwing.
I guess that's just I guess that's just the attitude they're going with for him. That's his sort of characterization where he's always going to like speak this way. But he leaves Nightwing for dead here because the big cliffhanger, of course, is that he's setting off a bomb and we end with this explosion and Nightwing's saying to Giz, tell Sean I, and then boom, that's the big cliffhanger.
Yeah, the biggest action movie cliffhanger of all time.
Yeah, and it looks like a proper blast. That last panel, because it's this little island with a derelict ship on it, and if I remember last issue correctly. Yeah, but that was a fun issue. Honestly, there's not a lot to talk about. It is almost entirely one big action sequence of Nightwing just kind of working his way through all these various villains, which is some fun cameos, some fun art.
I agree.
But that's kind of it. It's kind of this whole gauntlet, and I guess what this does for the arc as a whole is it kind of shows you just kind of how manipulative that Blockbuster's willing to be, because if he's playing Tiger Shark as well again for his own means, then certainly he's willing to screw over anyone just to do what he wants. Yeah. So we'll see how that progresses. But no, pretty simple issue. I read this super quick because it was just like I say, a lot of double page spreads, just lots of kicking and punching and all sorts. Nightwing sort of his inner monologue, just kind of try to work out how to best fight through the situation. Pretty typical stuff, but solid. But there you go, that's Nightwing. That'll take us on to Green Arrow number 26, Benjamin Percy writing, Stephen Byrne on art. This is the first official part of the hard-travelling hero where Oliver's out on the road. Quite literally, he's on his bike, he's driving through. Yeah.
Granted, he hasn't made it that far from Star City, I almost call it Seattle, because he's in the mountains that surround.
Yeah, he's still in the same
Cascades.
state. He's still in Washington, so he's not gotten super far yet. But basically, he runs into the Flash, who's out there investigating because there's some weird Speed Force anomalies going on.
Yeah,
that's affecting stuff. And basically,
Speed Force deer.
Yeah,
weird.
And basically, what it turns out is happening is that Black Hole from Flash, who as he describes to Oliver as the evil Star Labs, and the Ninth Circle are doing something together. They are working together to develop a Speed Force bomb, which they're going to set off in Washington DC.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we find out as the issue goes on. What a lot of the issue is, though, is Oliver and Flash not really trusting each other, and Oliver being a little bit uptight about it, and he'd be like, "Oh, so do you want to team up then?" And Barry's like, "Nah, that's kind of the last thing I need right now."
Yeah.
So
yeah. I do like that it continues the Barry and Ollie not liking each other, but both considering Hal their best buddy. Although I don't know if Ollie is still a buddy of Hal's here.
I'm not sure, actually. It's a good question.
Yeah, but based off of the last, small story of Flash, we had, we know that they're still cool. So, but yeah, I liked how dismissive Flash is here. He's almost kind of a jerk, which I'm not used to Barry being.
The funny thing is that I actually side with them, because we've seen Oliver enough to know. Because Oliver is a bit of a dickhead at times.
And he messes things up because he rushes in half-cocked. Yeah. And when you have super speed, you really can rush in and deal with these things where you have a guy that's just going to kind of be an anchor. Yeah,
but I actually really like the whole bit where Oliver's like, yeah, I'm not much of a follower, that's why Batman and Superman don't let me in the league. And then Flash is like, no, actually it's because you're a jerk.
No. Yeah.
It's that simple.
I loved that. Although I do love, too, that he has that sense about himself. Like, because everyone's the hero in their own story. And here we're getting another perspective from Barry. So...
yeah. I will say the art is mostly very good. Byrne is obviously a good artist. I do occasionally have a problem with his faces, where, like, for example, the first full page spread where Flash shows up. Go to the page and it's you. Barry's face, there's just something a little too
off.
Yeah, like, I mean, Byrne's got a very sort of cartoony style, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you just compare it to like Oliver's face, where Oliver's quite angular and it works, Barry's head's just super round, and it feels kind of weird. It's like his jaw's too wide, his smile's kind of weird. It's a bit off. It's a bit off for my liking.
I agree.
But otherwise, the art's very good, of course. I really like the colour tones in this, actually. It's a lot of... I mean, Green Arrow's just this a lot, but obviously you've got the green that contrasts, and then there's a lot of like orange hues in the background. Like when it goes to the Emmy scene when she's talking to the lawyer, and it's like it's all these oranges. Like she's wearing a green shirt, which I thought was kind of, because obviously her colour's red now. She's Red Arrow. Like she should be wearing red. If we're going by Power Rangers rules, she should always be wearing red.
Yeah,
but she's wearing green.
I do like, too, that this whole idea, because they point out that they have the same dad, very different moms. And now that we know that the Queen is Moira, that's kind of running things, is she that different than Shadow?
That's
like, I like that what they think is completely different to what we've seen.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a fun observation.
But, yeah, actually, I remember saying last issue, I really hope that whilst Oliver's away doing stuff, we get adventures of Dinah and Emmy, like, in the city, taking care of the city on their own.
Yeah.
And we don't actually get the scene of them taking care of, but obviously they're setting up that we're going to maybe have this subplot running throughout the arc where they are dealing with stuff. They're dealing with underground men, and Dinah actually says, yeah, let's team up, because you're going to go do it anyway. I'd rather you do it with me, where I can keep an eye on you and, give you some guidance. And I will say, Emmy here feels a little bit less, I guess, Damien-like than usual. Yeah. She feels a little bit more... she feels a little bit more kid-like, where, that whole little moment where Dave's like, yeah, and you've kind of proven yourself to be a badass, and Emmy just goes, yes! It's like, it's almost like more of a typical sort of excited kid.
How old is she? Is she supposed to be like 14, 15?
Is
she older than Damien?
13, 14, I think.
Okay.
I'm not 100% on it, so I'm not going
Oh,
to.
that makes sense a little bit. Let her have her little kid moments.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you know what? I'm actually liking this running joke of the lawyer like being really mad at Oliver.
yeah.
You know?
Well, she should be because he jumped on bail. Like that's the one thing you're not supposed to do to your lawyer.
No, but
If watching
yeah, but
lawyer
even yeah,
shows.
but even before that, when she first ran into him last issue, like she was very argumentative. Was probably not quite the right word, but she was very
He
assertive with him.
knows that she needs this right for her career because
Hmm.
she is she a public defender or no?
I don't
I
think
can't
so.
remember.
No, I don't think she's public defender.
I do know that she needs this case though, and that he knows that she because traditionally Kate Spencer's Manhunter, like she takes over that mantle,
Hmm.
and she always she follows through. She's dogged, he knows that, but yeah, I get why she's upset because he is a jerk. Like we know this, Oliver
No, but
Queen.
I just mean obviously she's got a legitimate reason to be upset with him now, but this isn't just new. Like she's had
No,
this
I know. I
she's had this
yeah
attitude with him since she met him, and I've just been liking this kind of running gag where like
yeah.
she's always got a temper with them. It's just it's
Mm-hmm.
fun. Like I'm digging it.
Definitely.
But yeah, so that was kind of the subplot, and that sets up that they're going to go and fight the Underground Men. Actually, do you know what part of the art I really like? Now, obviously, this is maybe more of a post, I was going to say post production. Like this is more of a Photoshop effect than anything else.
Mhm.
But I liked it when Oliver's like gearing up to go and find out what's going on after Barry's ditched him. He's in the forest and he looks at this egg, and this bird with Speed Force comes out of it. Uh, there's a great little depth of field panel where he's out of focus looking at the egg, and the egg's close up. I really
Yeah.
like that touch. It's really nice. It is.
Yep.
I think it's a weird thing because I think typically when you think of like doing things after the fact in a computer to the art, that is typically seen as like a bad thing in comics, and often it can be. Like often it can feel kind of forced and kind of cheating and whatever. But depth of field is one of those weird things where you can't really achieve it in the art on its own.
Yeah. You have to use digital effects.
Yeah, and honestly, but depth of field is such a strong part of imagery. It's a strong part of photography, and I know it's not photography, obviously, but it's such a strong part of storytelling in that sense that I do kind of like seeing it from time to time. It's a really nice little
Yeah.
shot.
Definitely.
So now we have a big action scene. They go in, they find Nine Circle, Black Hole working together. They grab the scientist who, because he was close to the detonation of the Speed Force bomb, he rapidly ages in like 3 panels and dies, which I thought was a nice little touch. So that was a
Yeah.
cool little moment.
Definitely.
Sets up this. So yeah, going to Washington DC, and they basically, all right, okay, we're going to team up now. Yeah, let's team up, and they run off to Washington DC. Well, Barry runs, Oliver rides his motorbike.
Yeah, and we know Wonder Woman's coming next, and
We
we
do.
know from
Yeah.
from the end of Rucka's run, she's in Virginia. That's close to DC. So
Plus, it just says at the bottom next Arrows and Amazons, so that kind of tells
yeah,
you that,
that too. That too.
that Diane is maybe stepping. No, admittedly, it could have been Donna
Yeah,
or
could be.
another Themyscirian, but no, her.
Um, so we talked about Nightwing and the Arrow villain showing back up there. Do we think he goes up to Blue Haven? Like,
Well, we know he goes to Gotham
okay,
soon, so I don't know if it'll maybe connect to what's going on in Nightwing. Maybe it'll be briefly mentioned. I'm not sure.
yeah,
But
it'd be cool if they did do that though, because yeah, we all know I like continuity, so
yeah.
it would be cool to kind of see that.
No, I thought it was a fun issue of Green Arrow. I'm liking what it's doing. It didn't. I thought the Rise of Star City and Emerald Outlaw both started stronger than this one, but I am
Yeah.
digging what they're doing so far, and I'm liking the chance for Ollie and Dinah, Emmy and Dinah to
Yeah.
do their own thing for a little bit. I think that'll be fun to see as it goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, I guess that'll take us on to the other Green Book. Green Lanterns number 26. Sam Humphries writing, Ronan Cliquet on art. This is a story that is kind of well, it's a flashback, but it's basically Rami's journal entries, which serves as the narration for this, and it's basically the story of how him and Volthoom first interacted, how he ended up creating the rings, why he created the rings, which is because Volthoom goes nuts and becomes dangerous. But why did he become dangerous? What led to that? And it's basically that story. I quite enjoyed this actually. This was
it. So we've complained about all the spacey Johnsian space opera
Hmm.
stuff, but here I love this. This feels like vintage Blackest Night era Green
It does.
Lanterns, where yeah.
And do you know why it does? It's because it focuses on two characters. It stays
Hmm.
focused. It's very strong. Obviously, everything. It's also related to everything we've been seeing them build up to over the last year of stories.
Hmm.
Like all of it's been kind of building to this. So having this feels very important. It also does this really cool thing where they actually genuinely seem like friends first, like because they agree to help each other. Like Rami wants to experiment with the lantern, and Volthum wants to go back and save his planet and his mother, and they kind of make this deal, and they work together. They try and develop the ring. They figure out the emotional spectrum. Actually, one of the touches I liked is that the lantern in his chest like lights up various colours. It's always correlating to what he's feeling at that moment. So there's a
Yep.
moment where he gets angry, but then he worries that Rami's right, and it goes yellow. So it's like fear.
Yep.
And it's like really nice little touches like that. I thought that was pretty fun.
Yep. Some parts of the art.
Yeah. Art was pretty solid. Um, but yeah, it's ultimately like, yeah, this ring's too dangerous. But then the ultimate breaking point is that Rami actually uses the travel lantern himself, and he sees what actually because Volthum's Earth, when that got destroyed, no one knew what destroyed it. It was like an unknown force, an
Right.
unknown entity. And Rami uses the travel lantern, he sees what did it, and it turns out it was Volthum himself. When Volthum goes back to try and save it with his powers, it's actually him that destroys the planet in this weird kind of, closed circle, this closed loop of like destiny.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah. But of
Yeah.
course, he doesn't believe him. He goes nuts when he finds out, and he starts attacking the Guardians. He kills lots of them, and it's him going nuts and becoming this all-powerful being that prompts Rami to destroy the Lantern and make the first 7 Green Lantern rings. In fact, the final moment of the issue is, I don't know if I've had 6 so far, but I'm going to guess
Yeah.
this is the 7th and final first Lantern
Yeah.
that we see. It's very different as well, actually, because it's a elemental being of a almost Groot-like, if you will, or Swamp
Or
Thing-like,
yeah.
to be more DC focused.
I can't. Yeah. I can't wait to see these first 7 lanterns together. Just because I like when we get new teams and new people.
Yeah.
So, and from all this, we had the White Lantern Western kind of character. You had the Third World God character. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that we've had.
We had the sort of down the luck, sort of, well, lesbian from the last issue. Remember?
Oh, that's right. And then we
Yeah.
also had the lion faced one.
Because she stuck out to me as the most memorable because she was so normal. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
she's having trouble keeping a job. It was like a really down to earth like sort
Mhm.
of story. So hers really stuck with me.
That's right.
This one's called Kalin, for the record. Kalin
Yeah.
of Alstair. Alstair's the planet.
Uh,
But
excited
obviously,
to see where this goes.
yeah, we theorised that in last issue that Simon and Jessica, because they get transported at the end of the last one with the travel lantern, that they're probably going to end up back in time with these first 7 Green Lanterns, and that should be really exciting. That's why I've been building up and we've been learning who they all are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it has been 7. If it hasn't been 7, then I'd maybe suggest that the 7th will be one that we discover with them at at the time.
Don't forget that Jessica's ring is one of the 7.
That is
too.
true.
So
I'm wondering
she
who
could
yeah,
be the 7th at the time.
your mic's going, Matt.
Oh,
But well, I do wonder, like, if her ring is one of the 7, then does that mean when she meets the 7 that one of them has her ring? Like the ring recognizes itself, and what does that do? What does that?
time paradox.
Does,
type
yeah,
deal.
does that do something? Does the ring get confused why it's now talking like the way it does with Jessica? Because obviously
Right.
it's got a very unique personality as far as the rings go.
Does.
Because they all sound the same except hers. Hers sounds different. And that's really cool. No, I had a lot of fun with this. I thought this did a lot to. I mean, I think Volthum's had a lot of good. I feel like Volthum's had better character development in this run than he did originally. Because as much as it was
Yeah.
fine when he popped up in Johnsy's run, but he popped up in Johnsy's run after Blackest Night. That was when Johnsy's run started to, go down a little bit. It was maybe not as great as it once had been. Whereas this, I feel like it's made him a bit more human. It's made me understand his tragedy a little bit better. And then him and Rami, I feel like their story has given it a little bit more weight. It's given a sort of grounding to everything that we've seen with them, and everything we are about to see. I'm actually really excited about this 7 Original Lanterns story coming up.
Me too.
I'm really appreciating how it's built. I'm really impressed with how far this book came since that first arc, that we were, maybe we'll drop this if it doesn't get better after this first one.
Yeah,
and sure
it
enough,
helps that Atrocitus isn't involved, you know? So
do you dislike Atrocitus?
I like Atrocitus, but I feel less is more with him. So
that said, if Dexter wants to show up soon, I'm not against it.
Bleez, I love Bleez as a character. You know, hers is the tragedy there rings more true than Atrocitus. So, but yeah, I mean, it's come so far. I really do like Green Lanterns.
It really
every week it comes out.
It's really become something that feels like a big run now, whereas before it didn't. It felt like the Rage arc at the start was almost this little like tester to just sort of dip his toes, and like, you know, Humphries sort of like got a hold of the characters, and then it really started after that, and it's been just sort of building kind of on itself ever since. Like, I really enjoy this book now, so it's good to see.
Don't forget too that we have the Hell Seed still there.
We do, yeah.
And I'm wondering if the 7 Lanterns might have something to do with that, or because those rings seem different. Like, we just know from the way that they interact with Jessica. So.
Yeah, I wonder if they all have these unique properties, and you know, if she has that one, then did the other 6 ever go to anyone else? And is that maybe something we can explore? I don't know. But no, it's good stuff. All right, well, I guess that'll take us on to our final book of the week. Yeah, it's weird only having 6 books. I'm so used to it being like at least 10. But Deathstroke number 21, Christopher Priest writing. How do you say it? Diogenes?
Yeah, Diogenes Neves.
Diogenes Neves, there you go. Yeah, I was cool with Neves.
I just make it rhyme. It could be completely wrong, but that's how I remember how to say it.
That is fair. So, we have the start of the Dark Titans arc in Deathstroke. What a neat one for me to jump on for discussing.
Yeah, right?
But yeah, so we have essentially the formation of this new team, this Deathstroke's Defiance team. Although I like Dark Titans as a name more, so I'm probably just going to call them the Dark Titans.
Yeah, well, this is Adeline's team. We find out that this was her idea for Joseph. So it makes sense, like, it's given that name because it's going to, you know, defy all this other things. But I just like it makes sense for Deathstroke because he's defying who he is.
Yeah.
At his core. Although, maybe not really, because we still see him do some shady stuff, just in the name of good.
We do. Basically, he's unsatisfied that there's not a big thing going on for them to go and be heroes for.
There's no crisis.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it's where's a good crisis when you need one is the phrase that comes out of his mouth. So he basically goes and sparks an international incident by assassinating someone, and he even says to the guy, "Oh, yeah, I've sworn off killing after this one," and then he kills him.
I hope that happens more. I hope every time we see him, they go, "Yeah, but you turned good." Yeah, I will after this one. So
I feel like I feel like, you know, if he's still going to kill, that's okay. It could be more of a Red Hood-esque hero where he's still willing to kill when the situation calls for it, but
his public persona is that he's reformed, so it's taking people by surprise. You know?
It is. But so he does this, they spark the incident. We get this cool scene where, you know, they call the Justice League, there's 102 American hostages at the embassy, we have to go and save them. And then Deathstroke intercepts the call and says, "Nope, stand down, Justice League, we've got this." And that's where we get the first cool 2-page spread of like the whole team together. Well, almost the whole team. There's one member who doesn't get introduced till the end of the issue. But so we get the whole team, at least up until now, in costume, going to save the day. And we have various like other scenes. Like we see New Wally meet New Power Girl, and they interact and they discuss like, is Deathstroke for real? Is he really trustworthy? Can we do this kind of thing? And you know, I thought it was maybe a little bit clunky how Wally had to have a page just to, kind of explaining why he was here.
Right after he explained to Power Girl while he was there. That was a problem.
That was enough, and then we have this page of like, here's one panel of him and Barry. Here's a panel of him and Iris. Here's a panel of him and whoever. Like, it's like we didn't really need filler. This page. Yeah, it did feel like filler.
I do love their interaction, Power Girl and New Wally, Kid Flash, and he's like, "Oh, you're on the team. Did you graduate high school already?" She's like, "I have 2 PhDs."
Yeah, he's like, I'm in 10th grade. And she's like, "I've got 2 PhDs." And they're at the same age.
It was, what grade are you in? I'm in 10th. That's what it was. She's like, I have 2 PhDs. But just the way that she looks at him and addresses it killed me. And also how they're both... Because I didn't read Teen Titans when she was on the team. So she's still sore that she wasn't asked to be part of this new one by Damien.
This was New 52 Teen Titans. Like, it's not a surprise that neither of us read that.
No, but I like that she's still... a little bit sore. She wasn't asked to be on that, but now she has this purpose, and I like these two bouncing off each other because they both are kind of products of the New 52 that aren't necessary, but you can do cool stuff with, like here in Deathstroke, and even Flash, because we have Ginger Wally back. We don't really need new Wally.
I think it's interesting you point that out. I actually kind of like that idea that they're both kind of rejects in this weird way because they both came out of an era that no one likes. Yep. So they're going to do something interesting with them. It's almost kind of like, you have a bunch of C-listers, no one really cares about them. And I'm not saying these are C-listers, I mean they kind of are, but you have a bunch of C-listers, what do you do with them to make them interesting? Oh, you put them in a team. Make it a new team who are trying to prove themselves together. And
Secret Six. That's what launched Secret Six, and then Catman became people's favorite character, you know?
Even on TV, Legends of Tomorrow. That's a group of C and D listers, but somehow you make them a team, and then all of a sudden it feels like, okay, this is their own thing. This can be something.
Definitely.
And you go with that. Also, Joseph's on the team because he just wants to try and stay close to Slade to investigate him to see if he killed his fiancée.
I like that because that was my biggest problem coming forth, that we had this whole wedding thing, and then we never got to see the wedding, and here it puts into... oh, she was murdered before the wedding could even go off. So who was it? And he has that list of who killed Eddie, and Rose is on there, and Mom's on there, and Deathstroke's on there. And I like Rose even brings that up.
Yeah, well, also it's worth mentioning here that they speculate maybe it wasn't him, but it probably was him. And then later on in the issue, Wintergreen and Adeline are talking about it, and they go, yeah, but we both know it wasn't. And I'm like, oh... what did they know? Who did they know who did it? Was it her? Is this shady games from her side of the aisle? Like what's?
What if it's Billy Wintergreen and he did it to save the family?
Well, this is the thing. Like Wintergreen at the end, like he seems to be agreeing to like backstab Slade, which feels really against his character, given everything we've seen from him. And that's when they introduce the final member of the team that they're bringing onto it, who's Terra, which makes me question: did Judas' contract happen in this timeline?
I don't know.
I guess it didn't.
But then what was the whole point of the Lazarus contract? Like,
I guess I'm confused.
Because that was the whole point.
What did they say in Lazarus' contract about what actually happened with? Because Ravager.
So I granted that was all about Ravager, and then the deal that Dick made was to train Rose. So I don't know.
I'm confused. This is.
But then again, I do this. Priest does this, and then it pays off in 3 issues. So maybe we'll get. But they introduced her smoking, which was that was one of the things about Terra, is that she looked like this innocent girl, and you see that she's far from it. She's a smoking, drinking, cussing like a sailor, 2-bit hood.
Well, I mean, obviously Wintergreen, I'm assuming it's Wintergreen who's like Terra.
Yeah.
He's shocked to see her, so he seems to know who she is. So clearly there's some kind of history. So I'm sure we'll find that out as we go forward. I'm liking the outfits. The outfits are pretty cool. The black and white suits are cool. Nice and uniform.
Don't like a cape on Deathstroke, though. That's just weird.
Cape is a little bit weird. Yeah, that's fair.
But maybe that'll have a point. But he looks like a random 90s hero, which I kind of love.
Yeah, I do like the look of them. I do want to point out that Slade is very close with this new dog that he bought Power Girl, even though he's the one who killed the old dog.
Yeah.
Feels very, I don't know.
It's just sitting on his lap, But yeah, I like this is the new era for Deathstroke. I've never been into the character that much, but from what I know about him, he's not a team player. So the fact that you're throwing him on a team is pretty great.
Do you think there was a small chance that he wasn't the one who murdered the guy? Because he's in costume, right? And obviously it plays very much like it cuts back to him on the couch going, oh, now we have a game. Like, I wonder if it's a misdirect and it wasn't actually him that killed the chauffeur dude.
Yeah, because he was in the Deathstroke costume, not the new Deathstroke costume. But then again, I see this as an ends justifying the means, and the guy was, a drug dealer type,
It's the way I'm just looking at the pages now. It's the way it happens, and then it cuts to the next page, and he's already sitting on the couch watching the news story, and I'm like, I read that as being him, but I'm thinking, that could be a misdirect. It could actually be someone else. Like, it could be someone.
That was the whole point of the Chicago issue, was someone was pretending to be him.
Yeah. I could see it playing that, and then people are going to debate, speculate later on, wait, did you kill this guy? Have you really turned over a new leaf? But maybe he is actually trying genuinely to not kill people, but someone else has thrown a wrench into it already. So I don't know. I'm wondering if there's a misdirect there, and it isn't actually Slade, because then the question becomes, if he is really trying to keep up the public persona of someone who isn't killing, then would he maybe wear something else? Rather than his classic costume when he goes and does this. I don't know.
It'd be weird.
Some speculation worth. So, is Wintergreen playing against the rest of the team? Is he going to actually backstab Slade? Or is he actually working for Slade and there's some weird double cross, triple cross thing going on that we can't perceive yet because Priest is playing the long game and it's almost impossible? Did Terra kill what's her face?
That's what I'm starting to believe is Adeline has more to do with this. I feel like there's a misdirect coming that we think that Deathstroke's the big bad, right? Because his morals and he's nuts. But what if it's Adeline and she's just as bad? And that's why they were always kind of meant for each other.
What if they really set this team up as a long-term thing by having them come together because they end up realising that Deathstroke's being framed for something and they all work together to stop Terra and Adeline? So I don't know. I see a lot of possibilities from this.
Me too.
After a very rough crossover, and it was very rough, I'm excited for where this could be going now, which is nice. So, that's cool. So I thought it was a solid issue. It's good stuff. So that's all the books. That's us done. That was quick. That was a shorter episode.
Too quick.
Yeah, 6 is not enough books. We need more books. Not any other week. The other weeks are fine. Just week 1. Week 1's the quieter week. Luckily, though, we're going to have a lot of tie-ins for events and stuff coming up soon, so we're bound to get some of those on week ones.
And I looked at next week's books already, and there's so much.
A lot of books. But before we get to next week's books, we do have to do our favourites, but we also have to have a look at what Patreon voted for, because obviously one of the perks on Patreon for the $1 tier is that you get to vote on your favourite of the week, so that we can read the results in the following week. So for last week's books, I'm just getting the file open here, do forgive me. But so for last week's books, favourite book of the week did go to Detective Comics, actually, because we went with Supergirl being super. Although I think Connor didn't know. I think Connor went with something else.
Connor.
I can't remember what. So that's what best comic went to. Best art went to Wonder Woman, which is pretty fair. Not what I picked, but it's pretty fair. And best cover did go to Supergirl being super. So one agreed with some of us. That's nice. But there you go. So that was what the patrons picked last week in the weekly patrons vote for best books and stuff for the week. So obviously the next voting will go up before the end of the week, and you'll have until we record the next episode to vote on it if you're on Patreon. But yeah, so what are our favourites of the week, though? That's the real question, Matt. That's the real question indeed.
Yeah.
So best panel of the week. Do you have one at the ready? Are you prepared to?
I do, and it should come as no surprise.
Go on. Wow me.
It's from Batman, and it's the entire page. I think it was a 2-page spread because I read it digitally. Mm-hmm. But it's Riddler and Ivy walking through the park talking as she's taking out Falcone's goons with the plants, and Batman's talking about how each one of them was, he was doing it for this reason, and this guy was actually one of Gordon's guys working undercover. and it looks so great. There's motion to it from the way they walk and all the guys being taken out, and it just shows how deadly Ivy can be. And now you're going to introduce Riddler to that equation, and it's pretty crazy.
That is fair. I am also going to pick a panel from Batman. However, I am going to go with the Joker trying to smile in the mirror, which technically is a lot of panels. If I'm picking just one of them, it'll be the final one where he's really upset that he can't. But
Yeah.
that page really spoke out to me. Really
it's a good one. Like,
it's really gorgeous. But what I like about it is that it's doing a lot of storytelling with just a visual. I mean, there's a lot of text on the page because we're hearing about what's going on in the grand scheme of things. But in terms of what Joker's going through in his head, it tells you a lot without saying anything about it. It's just him staring at himself in the mirror. It's great. Obviously, the art's a big deal there. The art is what really makes it. But no. So, best cover of the week. You got one of those, Matt?
I do, but it's a cheat because it's a variant.
No, not allowed.
I'll just say that the Batman variant with Poison Ivy has been my background on my phone and iPad since the first time we saw it. It's a beautiful cover.
Well, that's
but
nice.
having not been able to choose that one, it is going to be from Batman. It's the regular one with the puzzle piece.
Yep.
Of Joker, and his smile's missing.
Honestly, I feel bad for Deathstroke because had that Batman cover not been there, that Deathstroke would have probably won with the team all in the white and black. But that Batman cover is gorgeous because it's Janin, and I love the idea of they've incorporated both the Joker's the image, but it's all puzzle pieces, which obviously makes it a Riddler related as well. I like that mix. It's a really cool idea. So now Batman gets best cover as well.
Green Arrow was close though. Green Arrow cover is pretty great too.
Green Arrow's pretty good. Yeah. There's almost no point in me asking this, but best art of the week.
I mean, it could go. It's definitely Batman.
It's definitely Batman.
It's Janin.
That's not to say anything bad about the other art this week, but it's Batman.
I don't like having Batman in all my choices, Pete. I don't.
Well, I guess that leads me to the big question then. Your top 5 of the week, which is 5 out of 6 books that you read will be making the list. So
yeah. So one's gonna be Batman. 2's gonna be. I guess I'll go Green Lanterns. That one's tough. 3's Deathstroke. 4's Green Arrow, and man, I guess I'll go 5 Superman because I like the father-son stuff, and I like Nightwing too. I don't like leaving it off, but it was just that one long action sequence. So
yeah, Batman's my number 1. Green Lanterns is my number 2. Deathstroke's my number 3. 4 would be Nightwing, and 5 would be Green Arrow. I'd probably leave Superman off. But it's not. I feel like there's not a lot in it between the like my bottom 2 and then the 6th one that's left off. They're all pretty kind of similar. But my top 3 is the exact same as yours, and I think they're definitely the best 3 books of the week. So there we go. That's this week's favourites, which I guess leads me to tell you what's coming next week from DC Comics that we'll be covering in one way or the other. And I closed that page. Why did I do that? That was silly.
Way to go.
That was silly business. But here we go. So, coming next week, we have the next big issue in the upcoming event, which is Dark Days, the casting issue 1, which is the second prelude issue to the event.
Metal.
Sorry?
To metal.
To metal? What did I say?
No, you did.
All right, okay. I thought you were correcting me. I was like, what?
No. I was trying to help you out because you kept saying it's like you forgot what it was called for a second.
Oh no, my head's just away with it. I'm not all here this week, folks. I do apologise. But also coming next week is Action Comics 983. Did All Star Batman make the cut, or did I get pushed?
Nope, it's not on here.
It's not on here. It's been pushed. All right, so ignore that. Background: The Birds of Prey number 12, Detective Comics 960, The Flash number 26, Hal Jordan, The Green Lantern Corps number 24. We're not covering it, but Justice League of America number 10's out, New Superman 13's out, Supergirl 11, Superwoman 12, Titans number 13, Wonder Woman 26, which should be interesting because of course we've got a new team on that for the next arc. Also out, but we're not covering, is Suicide Squad number 21 and Red Hood and the Outlaws number 12. That is a certain missing member of this show's favourite book, so he'll be excited about that.
Yeah, I wanted to point out a book that's out next week too. It's called American Way, Those Above and Below. It's written by Stephen Ridley, who wrote 12 Years a Slave.
All right. Okay.
And it's a 6-issue thing, but it's basically a take on the government. It says it's been a decade since the Civil Defense Corps was exposed as a fraud created by the U.S. government for propaganda purposes. While most of the heroes who survived the catastrophe have retired or disappeared, the new American still carries on, trying to keep communities safe amid the social turmoil of the 70s. So, seems like it's a little socially inclined, but it's written by John Ridley, and then art by George Gianti, who did the Buffy stuff for Dark Horse.
Oh, cool. Is this a DC book?
Yeah, it's DC.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what imprint it's coming out on. But it's listed under DC. Clicked on it, so it seems like it'd be primed for Vertigo, but it doesn't have a label.
Apparently they're going to do a new line coming next year because they think Vertigo as a brand is kind of done. Like they feel like it's not getting name recognition anymore. So I don't know what they're, but I did not know about this. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, it seems I saw that name. I saw Stephen Ridley, and the fact that he's jumping. He did the movies and then TV. Now he's jumping into comics. I think that's So I'm probably gonna pick it up and give it a whirl.
That's cool. So a lot of books next week. I think how many? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 books next week, which is honestly I like 10. 10's a good number for me. I feel like when it's hitting like 13 though, which every so often when we have maybe an extra event book or something with one of these busy weeks, it hits like 12, 13, and that's when I start to feel it be a little bit of a like, oh, that's a bit much.
Yeah. Also, Planetary Book 1 coming out. Sorry. Yeah, I agree. I have the same number too because you read Birds of Prey. I don't, and I read Howlin' Pals, and you don't. So, just a nice little balance. I'm glad we're not reading Justice League because that would put us at 11 apiece. So. Well,
that's ultimately why we drop things like Just Leave America when it's something we're not really feeling and we're just kind of like begrudgingly reading it. It's hard to do that when it's the 11th book of the week.
Yes.
When you've read 10 books already, it's like, oh, I don't really want to read this last one. It kind of it puts a damper on things, but plenty to talk about next week.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. That's been episode 59 of Comics from the Multiverse.
Yep.
Any final thoughts, Matt?
No, just Dark Days of the Casting. Super stoked. Ready to see where that goes. And if you missed out on the first printing, the Forged second printing is going to be out on Wednesday too. So pick that up. We need a name for DC fans. You always have the Marvel zombies. Like, those are people that would pick up anything Marvel. I feel like we need that for DC.
How about the DC Master Race? How's that sound?
I don't like that.
Okay.
I get where it comes from. I get, but...
Still. Yeah, for people who think I'm making arguably it's still a very inappropriate joke, but it's based on video games. People who like to play games on PC because PCs are superior if you spend the money on them to consoles. Yeah. There's just a running joke on the internet that they refer to themselves as the PC Master Race, and obviously PC and DC are very similar phrases. I went with it, alright? What do you want from me?
It's hilarious, but just let the record show that I was against it from the start.
Matt's not committing to it, that's fair.
No.
Also, it's worth mentioning, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't speak to it. It's not that surprising, but Scott Snyder put out a reading list for DC Metal. Which was basically, he said, DC are going to make a proper one, but me and my kids drew this one up quickly. And it was just this handwritten, the main issues, and then there was like, the Gotham's Resistance little crossover in the middle in here, and then the second little 4-issue crossover which we spoke about. I think there was a name for it on this little reading list, so I wish I had it in front of me. But it was 2 issues of Justice League, one of, I think, Harley Quinn, and one of Hal Jordan. And that's like in the second sort of chunk of it, but it was a It was just a nice little reading list, so you put that out.
I like that Snyder's making Hal Jordan. Like it was always one of those things like that we thought Johns was pushing Jordan because we all knew that he loved his. But the fact that Snyder's using him as the Earth Green Lantern that's wrapped up in this, I really like.
Yeah.
So
I think it makes a lot of sense as well, because if someone's like, oh, I want to read the event, but I'm not reading any Green Lanterns, if they go to the event and the Green Lantern in the book is Hal Jordan, the one they probably know the best, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, you're using the main one for the events.
Yeah.
Not that the others shouldn't get their time in the sun, because they should, but it makes sense from this point of view, because it's not a Green Lantern focused event, it's elsewhere. But there we go, that's episode 59. Let us know what you thought of this week's books in the comments, whether you're on YouTube, or you're on the iTunes, or you're on the SoundCloud. Get us on Twitter at @meld_fuzz for channel updates, podcast updates and stuff. I'm at Wibble89, Matt is at Matt of Steel 57 if you want to get us individually. But no, that's us. Obviously, if you want to support the podcast, you want to support what we do, and get hopefully some cool bonuses, you can head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. And if you do sign up at the $5 tier, you get some bonus comics content. Me and all three of us actually recently did Black Magic issue 6 after me and Connor did the first trade. That's the Greg Rucka series about witches that's currently coming out from Image. That's really good, so there's some bonus content like that on there, but I'll really just get like a nice feeling from supporting us more than anything else. But so head over there, check out that. But that is us, so thank you very much once again for watching and or listening. We always appreciate it. So yeah, that's us guys, and always remember, never get lost in the Speed Force.
Long live the Legion.